Information shared on the following program is for general information purposes only. It does not constitute legal, tax, investment, or other advice, nor is it intended to recommend any particular investments, products, or financial instruments. Always seek advice from your financial advisor, attorney, or accountant with regard to investment, legal, or tax questions.
Do you believe in magic when it comes to your money? Well, that's a good question. Let's find out.
Welcome to the only show in the country dedicated to helping savers worry less about money, the Worry-Free Retirement, with your host, Tony Walker.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do. Them that have it get more of it. The less they need it, the more they love it. And it sticks to them like glue. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.
Ever wonder what that magical retirement would look like? According to the financial world, the magic potion to a worry-free retirement is simply handing over all of your money to them and letting them take care of the rest. But as we are about to find out today, there is more to creating a worry-free retirement than meets the eye. In fact, what I'm going to share with you today will not only amaze you, but show you how one of the biggest hoaxes perpetrated on savers is creating more uncertainty than ever before, a sleight of hand that very few people saw coming. Well, welcome, folks, to the Worry-Free Retirement, and I am retirement planning specialist and fiduciary Tony Walker. And with us today in the studio, as always, we've got two financial sidekicks now. My favorite financial sidekick, don't take this personally, Megan, Mr. Aaron Orander, along with his sidekick, Megan Murphy, helping produce the show. How are you doing this morning, Aaron?
Oh, I'm doing good. How about yourself, sir?
I am doing great. And sounds like just a little bit. I know you and I both kind of struggle with allergies. Have you got just a tad feeling of that allergy today?
Just a little bit. I'm also just tired.
Oh, you're tired?
I'm just tired. I had a long weekend, a lot of work going on.
You're remodeling your house.
I'm working on finishing my basement, yeah. So we're installing a bathroom and a bedroom and an office. We're just going all out.
Is this going to be your new bedroom? Is Jessica
this is where I'm going.
I know where this is going. Yeah. It's kind of funny. I was watching a commercial. I've been dealing with allergies. That's Nervage. Has you seen that thing? The saline solution. The lady holds that thing up and it goes through your nose.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
I may have to try it. I'm getting desperate.
I've got a neti pot. It works.
Oh.
It works.
Well, look at you. Okay. So we are, folks, if you're just now joining us, we're on the third part of our series of something called the Pyramid of Misdirection. 2 weeks ago, we covered this notion of the financial world and the tactics they use to misdirect us. And that was the issue that we've got to take more risk in other to make it, which we know that's not true. There's no. I always tell people, if you don't want to take a bunch of risk, let's figure out how not to take risk. But the financial world seems to say you've got to do that. So we've debunked that myth. And then last week we talked about the idea of more money. That as we get older, the financial world keeps telling us we've got to have more and more money. And as we discovered, the reason they do that is they want to hold on to the money so they can make money on our money. They don't want us to come and use and enjoy this money. That defeats their business plan. Well, now we're talking about more magic. And that's why we started off. Let's play that clip. That's actually a great clip of the Lovin' Spoonful back in the 60s. Hit it, Aaron. Speaking of do you believe in magic, I've got to tell a funny story, Aaron. As you know, I've come from a very musically inclined background of family members. You know that, don't you?
Yes.
I was the least inclined, although I play a little trumpet and bass and drums. But my brother still is a very accomplished drummer. He plays in a group in Lexington. They've been playing for years called the Johnson Brothers. I know you know that. For those of you listening at our new sister station up there, WLAP in Lexington, you might be familiar with the Johnson Brothers. But my brother Marty is the drummer. And actually, people don't believe this. Of course, we're going to date ourselves. Way back in the 60s, he started playing drums when he was about 4 years old.
That's awesome.
Yeah, and he could. So my dad was a musician, got him a little drum set, and he figured my dad realized he could keep a beat. So at about 12 or 13, my dad actually started taking him out playing gigs, and my brother was playing drums in these gigs. So he's only 13 years of age.
What
Pretty
were you
impressive.
doing? What were you doing during all this?
See, I was the band boy.
Ah, okay.
Yeah, I took my trumpet along hoping to play. He let me play one song once. It was Tenderly. I used to play this song called Tenderly, an old ballad. But anyway, Marty, I've got to tell you the story before we get into the magic show, so to speak, here, folks. And stay tuned, because if you think your money is magical in your 401k, we're getting ready to show you later on why that money could be disappearing very quickly if you don't take action with that 401k now. But anyway, this is almost surreal. Growing up in Lexington as a kid, my dad, he would get these strange little gigs. Now, a lot of times he'd play at the nice country clubs and stuff, but every once in a while he'd just get a gig. And this was an organization he worked for, and at the time they decided to host a picnic, a company picnic, at the Fraternal Order of Police's shooting range, where they practice shooting guns.
Okay.
And apparently at the same time they were involved in, they were allowing some heavy drinking to go on. You see, this was the 60s now. Stuff like this was allowed. But anyway, so my brother, they were playing under a little shelter, and I was just, 9 or 10 years old. I'll never forget this. So they played, they took a break, and my brother was getting ready to get up from the drums. Keep in mind, he's only like 12, 13 years of age. And a guy comes staggering up there. Obviously, he's had a little too much to drink. And he kind of pushes my brother out of the way, and he goes, "Scoot over, kid." And I'm watching this play out. I'm standing there watching. Takes the drumsticks, and he starts playing the drums. Nobody's around except my brother's looking at him. And he starts twirling the drumsticks. So he looks at my dad. He goes, "Hey, Walker." My dad looked over, and he knew him. He goes, "Yeah, what is it?" He goes, Your son can't even twirl drumsticks. Look." And my dad looked at him and said, "Hey, Hoss, I'm teaching him how to be a drummer, not a magician."
Ah, nice.
So maybe that's the way you feel. Maybe you feel like all this hocus pocus going on with the financial world is keeping you at bay, and it's hard to really understand, number one, what's going on with your money, and number two, and most importantly, how in the heck are you going to hold on to it and keep it? Now, this whole topic of magic, Aaron, I mean, we've been talking about it a little bit here and there because this is about the art of misdirection. But this whole topic of magic really involves many things, and we're infatuated with it. I think of Disney World. You know what they call that? What is the word? Fill in the blank kingdom.
The magical kingdom.
The magic kingdom. My wife and I, we're getting ready, as we record the show, we're getting ready to go to Florida. We go down there a lot to Disney World, just she and I for quick, 2-day trips, 3-day trips. It's easy to get there. But we're going to fly into the Orlando airport, and we jump on a bus called the Magical Express. Okay, so Disney has created this aura of magic and this magical, happy place. And I think the reason it resonates with people, because deep down, everybody wants to have fun. They want to be happy. There's nothing wrong with that. And the financial world knows this, and they play on the fact, again, more risk, more money, and now there has to be this magical age you retire. There has to be this magical amount of money that you have to have before you can retire. There's got to be a financial product that is like the magic bullet of them all. And folks, what you're going to find out, there is no magical age to retire. There is no magic bullet out there. There is no perfect product. There is no magical advisor, including yours truly, who has the answers to all things. We're going to, I'm not going to get on a big roll here, but I am so burned out, Aaron, on all of these financial pundits on radio, TV, internet, thinking they've got all the magical answers. I call these people financial know-it-alls. Folks, let me give you a rule of thumb about magic. If anybody ever says, never ever do this, never ever do that, number one, they're not a credentialed advisor, because an advisor who knows what's going on would never ever say never. You know why that is, Aaron?
Because everybody's different.
Everybody's different. Bingo. I don't understand this, folks. I mean, just like Disney World, even though me and my wife like Disney World, I wouldn't expect other people to love Disney World the way we do. It may not be people's taste, but for some reason, I had this come up the other day, Aaron. I'm meeting with a nice young lady. She's visited with a stockbroker who happens to, he likes these particular types of investments, and that's fine. That's what he does. That's great. And I started talking about annuities, because we do a lot of annuities. And she said, wait a minute. She didn't know a lot about our practice. She goes, are you going to be talking about annuities? And I said, well, yes, ma'am. We usually include annuities if you're a saver, blah, blah, blah. And she goes, well, I don't want an annuity. And I said, why? Well, I just met with so-and-so, and he said, don't do an annuity. And I said, what does this person sell? She goes, what do you mean? I said, well, he's selling something, isn't he? Well, he likes to deal in bonds. And I said, well, is he a retirement specialist? Well, he says he is. Is he credentialed? How long has he been doing it? bottom line was, I said, ma'am, if somebody tells you never to do something, in my opinion, that's when you get a second opinion, not that you just accept and hang on to every word. So, folks, what we're going to be doing, we're going to be talking about something that really is near and dear to my heart, and that's how can we magically put more money in your pocket and use and enjoy it. And what we're going to find out when we come back, there was something created in 1978 called the 401k plan. And this 401k plan was supposed to magically solve all of our problems, and millions of Americans are currently putting every cent they can find into these 401ks because they've been told to do that. And little do they really understand that just as easily as that money has gone in there, it could just as easily magically disappear. And I'm going to show you how to keep that from happening. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Are you retired or retiring soon? With the stock market at an all-time high, do you really think it's wise to risk your 401k plan? Well, I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, inviting you to my next free workshop, Safeguarding Your 401k from the Next Stock Market Crash, Tuesday, August 13th at 6 p.m. in Georgetown, Kentucky. Learn the secret to a worry-free retirement by attending. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. Welcome back to the Worry-Free Retirement, and I am Tony Walker. In case you're just joining us, we're talking about the pyramid of misdirection and how the financial world creates these tactics to misdirect us and unfortunately sometimes misguide us into turning over more and more of our money to them without showing us how to get it back in return. Speaking of returns, that's all really the financial world talks about. How much return are you making on your money? And what they're talking about is investment return, folks. Folks, you don't have to risk a lot of money and get high investment returns. What we're going to find out today, and we're going to talk about this next week in a lot more detail, but if you can reduce costs, for instance, taxes, we're going to talk about something that's very important going on in Congress right now that was just passed, pretty scary stuff. But if you can just reduce the taxes that are going to be owed on your 401k, that increases your rate of return. Does that make sense to you, Aaron? Aaron Avery, America's favorite financial sidekick. Think about a business, folks. Let's take this, Aaron. We got a place down the street, they're trying to make hamburgers and crank out hamburgers, right? Mm-hmm. And little do they know that if they kept their costs down and then sold hamburgers, as people bought the hamburgers, they would make more of a profit, right?
Right.
Well, what a lot of people do, they might say, wait, yeah, but we got to sell more hamburgers. I'm not worried about cost because if we sell more hamburgers, that'll cure all our problems.
That'll bring the money in.
Yeah, that'll bring more money in. What they don't realize, they bring more money in. Actually, it exacerbates the cost because they haven't gotten their cost under control anyway. If they bring more money in, let's say they don't know how to get proper help, they have to hire more help. Everything just exacerbates, and that's the way with money, folks. You've been taught, I wouldn't say duped, to magically think that if you can earn a higher rate of return on your money, even if it involves risk, you will have more money in the end. And when we're talking about 401k plans, that is not the case. Can I tell one more story, Aaron? I know this is the magic of radio, but I guess since I am paying for the show, and you have to, as a staff member, you have to at least sit there and
kind of do
like
whatever you want with this show.
Yeah, okay, thank you. But anyway, this is so funny because I got to tell one more story on them. We were talking about my brother growing up in Lexington, and as a kid, we went to Glendover Elementary there, and we actually were pretty good. We had a little band, and we were going to be in the talent show. So I think I was like 7 or 8. Marty would have been 10 or 11. He was the drummer. I was relegated to playing a tambourine. That was big back in the 60s. Remember the song even? Like
Tambourine Man.
Yeah. Tambourine Man. Another guy was playing keyboards. It was actually pretty good. He was 11 or 12. His sister played the tambourine along with me. And I won't name his name, but there was a kid that was our guitar player who was not very good.
Okay.
I kid you not. Right? He was pretty bad. So right before we started, picture this is in the 60s, we're on stage, there's a curtain in front and then a curtain in the very back, and then you got a huge audience. This was a big deal back there, talent shows in the 60s. The gym teacher, Mr. Taylor, we saw him do it, sneaks around the back corner of the curtain. The guitar player's getting ready to turn around and start playing. He turns his amp all the way down because he was so bad.
Oh, man.
And we played that whole song. Well, the guitar player never knew, but I thought he magically turned that guitar down. And we sounded a whole lot better, I'll have to admit. So, folks, if you're sitting there thinking, okay, what does this have to do with money, Tony? Well, let's just focus on that a minute. Let's talk about what is going on right now in the world of finance. Let's focus on this nation's debt. I'm going to tie this together right now, and it's climbing, folks. The amount of debt this country owes that one day has to be paid back some way is over $22 trillion. And that's with a T. I didn't say billion, I said trillion. That's a lot of zeros. So $22 trillion. And with interest rates so low and tax rates low, some of the lowest tax rates we've had in the history of our country, the question is, how are we going to pay this back? And currently there is no strategy, folks, to pay it back. So just imagine you're loading up credit card debt like crazy, the interest rate's going through the roof, and you're not paying off the credit cards. What eventually is going to happen, Aaron? It's all going to, it's a house of cards. It's going to collapse. So, to the rescue, and I've said this for years. I was trained under a guy named Bob Castellone that warned about this. So I've been saying this for years, folks. This is not news to me, what I'm going to share with you. But I've always feared that all of this money, trillions of dollars right now, stockpiled in 401k plans, TSPs, TSPs, 403bs, lump sum pensions that haven't been taxed. All of this money has something buried within it, something I've trademarked called the tax tumor. And just like that restaurant I described that grows its sales, as the amount of money grows in these 401ks, folks, the tax tumor grows. That's because you haven't paid taxes on it. That's why they call it pre-tax. So we're estimating that there is 28 trillion, back to the T again, trillion, $28 trillion stockpiled in accounts that have not been taxed. So if you're a politician, Aaron, what's your first thought? Where are you going to go look for money to pay off this deficit?
Oh, in the accounts.
The accounts that haven't been taxed?
Yeah.
Okay. So with that said, people might be saying, Tony, you're so cynical. That surely won't happen. Well, first of all, again, keep involved the premise. We have a huge amount of debt in this country that we're not paying back. Nobody's dealing with it. We've got a huge amount of money stockpiled in plans that have not yet been taxed. Again, Congress controls the laws. They can change this at any time. And now as we see something that was just passed in Congress, it's called the Secure Act. Let me tell you the date of this program so you know what's going on. We are recording the show on July 16th, 2019. Now listen to this vote, Aaron. This was, a lot of times Congress votes and it's usually down party lines. All right, listen to this. Congress voted to pass the House passed the Setting Every Community Up for Retirement Enactment Act, known as the acronym SECURE, back in May. The vote in favor, 417-3.
Wow.
A landslide vote. Now, on the surface, this sounds like a wonderful thing. Okay, so let's back up a minute. What's been emphasized and publicized about this is a good thing for savers. Because why? Normally, again, which I think this is a bad idea, this is what most people do. Normally, since people know this money is going to be taxed in their 401k, Aaron, they can put it off to age 70 and a half. That's called, folks, your minimum distribution, required age of distribution, which says at age 70 and a half, currently under law, you have to begin taking what's called your minimum distribution out of a 401k or an IRA. Not a big deal. It's not a huge amount, but over time, it's intentionally getting bigger and bigger. Why? So they can make you take that money out so they can tax it. Now, they're saying they're going to back that off to age 72 as if this is a wonderful deal. It's actually a terrible deal, folks, for you to continue to defer this tax because all you're doing is deferring it to potentially a tax rate that's going to be higher. I believe tax rates will go up. A lot of people that are sharper than I am, a lot of economists feel it will too. In fact, several months ago, we hosted, actually in a movie theater in Louisville and a movie theater in Bowling Green, a documentary recently released called The Power of Zero, The Tax Train is Coming. Now, we thought this was so good and people thought it was so good and so enlightening about our deficits and all this debt and why we think taxes will drastically have to go up in the future. And you're going to see they're already kind of doing this, and I'll show you the end around how they're doing it in just a second. That what we're going to do is this. If you log on or call right now, if you log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com right now, and click on the Let's Get Started button. That will allow you to go to our portal so we can contact you to set up a no-obligation appointment to meet with me in person. All right, first of all, there's no cost or obligation. If you do that and we meet, I'm also going to give you absolutely free a brand new copy of the DVD of this same movie called The Power of Zero, The Tax Train is Coming. Now, I don't know what the value is. I can't remember what we paid for these. We bought them in bulk, Aaron. I don't even tell anybody my wife has no clue what I pay for all
Well,
this
it's cheaper
stuff.
when you buy in bulk, right?
Oh, yeah. That's what I told her. Even
Yeah.
my bobbleheads. I got the Tony Walker bobblehead. I mean, if I got 400 of them, I mean, the price drastically reduced.
That's what Jess tells me when she goes to the shop at Sam's or whatever. She's like,
There
well,
you
if you
go.
buy in
Oh,
bulk,
yeah.
it's cheaper in the long run.
I mean, that 84-ounce bottle of shampoo, Aaron, is so
That's right.
cheap, and it'll last forever. And then you see it sitting over there, and you know, I buy that stuff in bulk, and I haven't even opened half of it. You know, it's like, what am I doing? So if you go on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on that Let's Get Started, and we meet. Not only will I meet with you and share with you a written game plan absolutely free, I'm also going to give you a free copy of The Power of Zero. Actually, the value of this could be in the thousands, Aaron.
Could be.
Because it could save people just this knowledge alone of understanding taxes and how to deal with the tax tumor that I'm going to help you with. I know this stuff, folks. Again, I've been preaching what's in this DVD for years, so I'm on top of this, and I agree wholeheartedly. What we're saying is, we think taxes are going to have to go up in the future. You've got money that hasn't been taxed yet, and the government absolutely knows this, all right? So, or you can give us a call right now if you've got access to the computer or a cell phone or whatever, or mobile device. Just give us a call at 877-499-WALK. That's 877-499-WALK. And if you're calling on the weekend even, just tell the answering service that, hey, I want to meet with Tony to talk about my 401k. Maybe you're sitting there right now. Maybe you have a 401k that's with an old employer that needs to be rolled over and dealt with. We need to deal with the tax tumor now, not later. Maybe you are 59 and a half or older. That's the age you can usually roll out a 401k to somebody like us, so we can actually put a strategy around that thing. Or maybe you're getting ready to retire and you're just scared to death. You don't know what to do, and who's going to help you with this? Folks, I've been doing this 35 years. We've literally worked with thousands of people to help them get a handle on what's going on with their finances. Incidentally, reminder, speaking of 401ks, we're going to host a workshop in Georgetown, August 13th, Georgetown, Kentucky. You want to see this because we're going to talk about 401ks and how to safeguard your 401k from the next stock market crash. That's August 13th in Georgetown, Kentucky. So if you're retired or retiring soon, you've got to attend this. It's free of charge. I'll be personally hosting this workshop. Just log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com, click on workshop registrations, and we'll get you there. So here we go. Here's the article. Congress is coming for your IRA. This is written by Philip DeMuth. He says the Secure Act would upend 20 years of retirement planning and stick it to the middle class. So what they're doing basically, they've expanded the minimum distribution age to 72, which actually is not good. All right, I'm going to show you that in just a second. And then here's the worst part. Right now, Aaron, if I were to pass away, me and my wife, we can leave our IRA to our kids, and if they want to, they can take out that distribution over their lifetime, meaning they can spread the tax out and not pay the tax hit all at once. That's not a bad deal, right? At least it's an option. Well, here's what they're going to do in this new law, which is in this law, which nobody's talking about. With the changes in the law, under the new law, when your kids inherit it, again, that's going to be down the road, we're assuming, when taxes are probably going to be higher, they're going to make those kids take that money out over 10 years.
Okay.
Not spread it out. So that means all these trillions of dollars, the politicians know, again, folks, these are sharp people. They're not dummies. They understand they've got to find money. So now this law is going to force that money out of these 401ks when people start dying, which they will. And rather than extending that over another person's lifetime, which could be 30 or 40 years, if this is a 40-year-old child you're leaving it to, they're going to have to pay it out in 10 years. And then the question is, at what tax rate? We don't know.
Right, we don't know that.
So folks, think about this. You are putting your money in the hands of people. Number one, a lot of them are taking a lot of risk with it. It's not real money, it's funny money until you convert it to cash. And now all of a sudden we've introduced taxes into the equation. So when I come back, I'm going to show you something. It's either going to motivate you to meet with me or it's really going to mess up your day. But I got to share with you the truth about the erosion of your 401k and the magic of disappearing acts. You're listening to The Worry-Free Retirement. I'm Tony Walker. I'll be right back. Are you retired or retiring soon? With the stock market at an all-time high, do you really think it's wise to risk your 401k plan? Well, I'm retirement specialist Tony Walker, inviting you to my next free workshop, Safeguarding Your 401k from the Next Stock Market Crash, Tuesday, August 13th at 6 p.m. in Georgetown, Kentucky. Learn the secret to a worry-free retirement by attending. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com.
Tired of the roller coaster ride of the stock market? Let Tony Walker show you how to smooth out the ride with your money. Log on to TonyWalkerFinancial.com and let's get started.
Welcome back to Worry-Free Retirement. In the essence of time, we've Aaron, America's favorite financial sidekick, just reminded me in the break, chop, Tony, we've got about 4 minutes left. So I've saved the best for last, folks. So, okay, how does all this play out, Tony? I'm not thinking clearly on taxes, you might say. I forgot about all the risk I'm taking. We haven't even talked about inflation. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you how many of you, and again, there's a great book you can read on this. I'm not the only one talking about 401ks and the dangers. Now, first of all, let me back up real quick. A 401k is a great savings tool. In fact, if you've got a match on it, in most cases, I tell people to invest in 401ks to get the match. Don't max them out, but get the match. Sometimes we max them out depending on tax brackets, but in general, I don't like people maxing out their 401ks, and here's why. Here's an example, Aaron. What I did is I took a person 25, again, just imagine they put $10,000 a year into a 401k every year till 65. You with me?
Okay.
All right. So basically they put in $400,000. That would be their cost basis. Now again, just hypothetical, we imagine that they made 6% on their money throughout that period of time. So in a perfect world, with the magic of compounding, this is an actual number. This is a real number. This is not make-believe. At age 65, they would have $1.64 million. That's a lot of money, isn't it?
Nice.
400,000. That's
400,000.
Over, yeah. But we're not in a perfect world. In fact, we are living in a magical world of what? We have taxes, we have fees, and we have inflation. So we have to ask ourselves, these are what's called eroding forces. And many of you don't even have a clue what these are. We've already talked about taxes. In fact, in this calculation, it was difficult to do because I don't know what taxes are going to be. So what I did in this example, I assumed tax brackets of 25%. Let's make sure on this, Aaron. 25% federal, 5% state income tax. I assumed 3% inflation. And I assumed over the long term, on average, the money managers of the world, the Wall Streets, are going to charge about 1.5%. Fair enough? They're just assumptions. And all I'm trying to do is prove a point. So again, folks, don't rush out and stop your 401k. What you need to do after you hear this is rush to your computer and contact us so we can analyze what in the heck you're doing and make sense out of this and try to take the mystery out of your money. That's the purpose of this. So let's go through real quick. So the future value is over $1.6 million. Listen to this. The fees, that's what Wall Street collected throughout this course of time, $235,000. The federal income taxes owed at the end of this 40 years, $259,000. The state income taxes, $54,000. And inflation, I like to call that the stealth tax, over $540,000. So really in the real world, Aaron, remember you thought you had $1.6 million. After all those eroding factors, it magically disappears down to $779,000. Well, you put $400,000 in, so that means, listen folks, this is crazy. You only made $279,000 when you net out the taxes, when you net out the fees, when you net out the inflation. So folks, here's the point. You say, well, what can I do, Tony? Well, first of all, you've got to slow down, all right? Quit falling for the misdirection of all of this stuff going on. There is no magic bullet. There's no magic potion. There's no magic formula. There is a way, though, to get control of your money, and that's by giving us an opportunity to sit down in person and review your situation. I'm Tony Walker. I'm a fiduciary. I've been doing this 35 years. We have over 2,000 clients. I've met with over 10,000 people over the years. I can document this. We have personally written over 4,000 retirement game plans, and we want to help you. If you're a saver, if you're more concerned about the return of your money than on it, we want to help you make sense of this and take the mystery out of your money. So take action. Log on now to TonyWalkerFinancial.com. We can meet in person or talk by phone. There's absolutely no cost or obligation. And don't forget, for those of you who log on today or call today, 877-499-WALK, 877-499-WALK, you'll also, when we meet, get a brand new free copy of this wonderful documentary, The Power of Zero, The Tax Train is Coming. So take advantage of that now. Well, I hope you've enjoyed today's show. Next week, we're continuing our pyramid of misdirection. We're going to deal with the fourth tactic, what nobody wants to focus on, which we really will next week, is more costs. So between now and next week, you remember, if all else fails, you be worry-free.
If you got it, you don't need it. If you need it, you don't got it. You don't get it, shame on you. Funny, funny, funny what money can do.